Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Queen's Chamber of Commerce first webinar of the year with our community partners, Google, the Tech Incubator at Queen's College with Mrs. Jean Shu, the Adams Brown County's Economic Opportunities with Lisa Tomlinson Davis, and Grow with Google speaker, Petia Abdur Razak. Today, we are pleased to present a special webinar, How to Sell with E-Commerce Tools by Petia Abdur. She's a professional trainer at the Grow with Google program. My name is Jacqueline Donado. I am the Strategic Program Manager of the Queen's Chamber of Commerce. It's a membership organization established 110 years ago to work for a better business community in Queens, in New York City. Our outreach specialist, Tasneem Sultana, is also joining us today, and she will be sharing the PowerPoint presentation with the participants, and she also will upload the video into our YouTube channel. It's important to know that this program has been broadcasting on Facebook Live. Once again, thank you for being here. I look forward to work with all of you. And let's welcome our dear presenter, Petia Abdur Razak.
Thank you, Jacqueline. It is a pleasure to be presenting your first webinar of the year with you. This is amazing. And of course, we usually do it by ourselves, right? Just us two, but today we have two amazing partners. So the more, the merrier. All right, everyone. So before we get started, I'm going to share my screen. But before we get started, I like to kind of lay the foundation for these presentations, right? So in case you're wondering what Grow with Google is an initiative that's going on. This is a new year, so let's say about 5 years old at this point, that helps people across the United States to grow their skills, careers, and businesses by offering free digital skills training and tools, usually in partnership with host organizations such as the Queen Chamber of Commerce, the Tech Incubator at Queen's College, and Adams Brown County's Economic Opportunities. Before we dive in today, I'd like to invite our two co-hosts to introduce themselves and to share any useful information they may have about their organizations and any upcoming programming. So Ying, do you want to get started with that?
Sure, thank you, Petia. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name's Ying, and I work at the Tech Incubator at Queen's College. I'm very happy to co-host with the Grow with Google webinar with Jacqueline, Petia, and Lisa. At Tech Incubator, we help entrepreneurs, startup founders, and small businesses launch, grow, and scale their businesses. We offer digital services to businesses through our advisor network and our internship programs. If you need help to build a website, an e-commerce store, implement digital marketing strategies, create a social media campaign, we're here to help. We do have multiple events and classes for entrepreneurs in the upcoming this month and this quarter. I'm going to leave my contact information in the chat, and I'd love to connect with you. I want to thank Petia for this opportunity.
You are very welcome as always. And Lisa, your turn.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lisa Tumbleson Davis. I'm with Adams Brown Community Action Partnership. We're located in Southwest Ohio, and I'm the program coordinator for the business department. In addition to being a Grow with Google partner, we offer a variety of trainings such as business plan class, social media classes that are in person. We also offer Excel classes, QuickBooks classes, financial literacy training, and a variety of workshops and seminars throughout the year. So I will also leave my contact information in the chat box, and I want to thank everyone for attending today, and thank you, Petia, for teaching this class.
Absolutely, you guys are very welcome. Okay, so here's my contact information. Some people are shy during these presentations. I will encourage you not to be shy, and when we get to Q&A, to ask as many questions as I can take. However, if I don't get to you for whatever reason, a lot of people like to take a snapshot of this slide. This is my contact information, and you can feel free to reach out to me after today's presentation to ask any questions that you may have. As Jacqueline said, everyone that attended today's session will be receiving a hard copy of the presentation. There's also a presentation handout that I will share that they will send to you. And of course, you can always review the recording on the Queen's Chamber YouTube channel. All right. So in today's workshop, I'll explain why it's critical for retailers to have an online presence and be able to sell online. First of all, obviously, potential customers need to be able to find your products. So I'll help you to get started with that, or to do a better job, by talking about two Google products, a business profile and Google Merchant Center. After that, I'll introduce Shopify, which is an e-commerce tool, and show you the basics of setting up an e-commerce website. As always, I'll close the workshop with a quick recap, some action items, and more resources that you can access on your own time to continue your learning. So let's get started. Go back. I think I skipped a little ahead there. This computer's so sensitive. Okay, so every day, hundreds of millions of people turn to Google to do what? Find, discover, and shop. And of course, this is not limited to Google search only. People discover products when they browse Google's news feeds, when they watch YouTube videos, and even when they check their Gmail. And so to understand a lot of these concepts, I usually encourage that you take off your business owner's hat for a minute and think of yourself as a consumer, and think about how you find information about the products and services that you use, that you consume, right? And it makes it a lot easier and a lot relatable when you do that just for a quick second, because you are then able to better understand the importance of having a robust online presence. Okay, so research shows that online shopping is on the rise. And of course, given the current climate, we're still going through this pandemic, sometimes literally we don't have the option of going to a brick and mortar location to make our purchases. And in fact, shoppers go online first in 60% of shopping occasions. Important thing to note is that online shopping drives visits to stores as well. A global survey found that 45% of shoppers buy online and then pick up in store. And I certainly have done this. And again, taking off your business owner hat and putting your consumer hat on for a quick second helps you to really relate to some of these situations and statistics. Now, retailers need to show their products online because it drives sales. 58% of global purchases were prompted by something that shoppers saw online. And people want to know details before they actually go anywhere to make a purchase. 46% of shoppers confirm inventory online before visiting a store. Why? We're all dealing with time constraints, and so nobody really has the time to go all the way to a location to find out that things are out of stock, right? And many times when you call a store, if they don't have a piece of inventory, they're usually able to tell you if other locations within a certain vicinity has whatever you're looking for. The takeaway here is that you need to get your products online, even if your actual sales are happening offline in your store. So here are a few questions for you, or things for you to think about. Did you know that the average online shopping journey has over 140 touch points? That's a lot, right? Now, each touch point influences what people buy, and most importantly, who they buy it from. Now, the slide that we're looking at lists some of the touch points on Google where US-based customer interactions can happen. They include Google search and images, a business profile on Google, the shopping tab, shopping ads, and experimental places like Google Lens. So how do you take advantage of this amazing opportunity? How can you get your products to appear on Google? Let's start with reviewing a business profile. For anyone who isn't familiar with the free business profile, here's a quick overview. A business profile helps your business to stand out on Google search and maps. And it's available for businesses that make in-person interactions with their customers. Okay, so before you can make use of any of these Google products, you will have to sign into your Google account, right? And if you don't have a Google account, you can sign up for one for free by going to accounts.google.com/sign-up and creating your credentials. If you've already created a business profile, be sure to use the same email address to sign in. And if for some reason you work for a company and they use Google Workspace, they may have a Google profile that does not look immediately like a Google profile, such as gmail.com. So what you will be seeing would be an email address at thecompany.com, but it actually is a Gmail account. Okay. So for some reason, the graphics aren't showing up on the slides. So what I will do is that I'll stop sharing for a quick second and see why that is happening and come back, because it's really important for you to see the graphics. Sometimes these wonky things happen. The good news is that that can be easily solved by me opening another version of the presentation. Okay, in the meantime, if anybody has any questions about setting up the business profile while I get the graphics situation taken care of, then you can feel free to put them in the chat. Just give me a quick second to bring up a presentation that will actually cooperate with us. So any questions that I can take in the meantime, we can make the best use of our time by me taking them. Okay, so let's see what's going on. This version of the presentation. Okay. Okay, Jacqueline, can you confirm that you're seeing the slides again, please, just to be sure?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
perfect. All right, so let's see if this version will show. All right, there we go, much better. All right, let me just stop sharing for a second and I will be back.
And it's important for the people to know that, to the participants to know that, yes, we will share the presentation later on.
Yes, we will. You will, everybody that attends today will get a copy of the presentation. So that little wonkiness that happened won't affect you. Okay, everybody's all set now. Everybody's seeing the screen?
Yes.
Absolutely, perfect. Okay, so let me go back to where I was because I want to make sure that you guys see everything. Okay, so we were talking about showcasing your products with a business profile. All right, there we go. Now you can actually see what I'm talking about. Wow. Okay, so for anyone that's unfamiliar with what a business profile looks like, this is what you should be looking for. Most businesses who have in-person locations or make in-person contact with their customers usually have a business profile set up that actually allows them to show up on Google Maps. And of course, this becomes extremely important when we're thinking of somebody visiting your physical location. Now, the main point that you should get here from the value of a business profile is that it is intended for businesses who do make that in-person contact. So if you're strictly online, then having a business profile is not really intended for you because it's really intended to support local businesses who meet with their customers face-to-face at some point. So we can see on this slide that you're seeing the business profile for a retailer called the Spice House. And it includes the details about their Chicago store, such as their address, phone number, description, and much more. The slide also highlights a detail that appears in their business profile, which is their products listing. So in this example, the featured product is the Essential Spices Collection. And here you can see a product photo that showcases the name and price range. Clicking on the product reveals even more details. So once you create or you claim your business profile, you can also add your products as well. And we'll go through how we do this in the next couple of slides. So as I was saying, to access all of Google's digital tools, you need to be signed into your Google account. And like I said, this should be the Gmail address that's associated with your business. And if for some reason you don't have one, you can easily create one by going to accounts.google.com, hitting sign up, and following the prompts. If you have already created a business profile, just make sure that you're making a note of the email address that you use to sign up with it, because that's the address that you will need to continue to access the profile to make any updates. For today's workshop, I'm going to assume that you are already signed into Google, you've claimed your profile, or you've created your profile, and that you verify your business. If you haven't done so yet, then of course you need to take a few steps backwards and you will go to google.com/business to get started. Now, once you access your business profile, to add your products, you will have to click what's called the product editor. And once you do so, you'll follow a few simple steps to upload a product picture, enter the product name, and to create or choose a category. Now you will have the option to include a price range, description, as well as a button that can link to a product details page on your website. After you add all of these details, you would click save. Now you want to make sure that you wait a few minutes for your newly added products to show online. But in the meantime, you can always do a preview of how your product will look to the customers by clicking a little tab that says See It on Google. The great thing about this is that you can click on a product to make changes or delete it at any time. So this is what the same product looks like when you click on it from the business profile on Google. Now you will see on this slide that all of the product information, including a button with a call to action, which is learn more in this case, is available. And when this button is clicked, it will send you to the product page on the Spice House's website. So doing so is also a great way for you to drive your website traffic. Now, I know one of the questions that I usually get is, this is wonderful, how much does this cost? And the answer is there's no charge to add these products, and your clicks on the products are free as well. Okay, so I know we went through it fairly quickly, but trust me, if you follow along the directions, when you get a copy of the presentation and you listen to the recording, it is actually that easy to add your products once you have claimed and set up and verified your business profile. Okay, so moving along to Google Merchant Center. Here we're going to discuss about or review at a high level, of course, all the other places on Google where your products can show up. And we will talk about Google Merchant Center. Now, retailers use Merchant Center to make their store and product information available to shoppers across the Google network. Yes, Google Merchant Center is free, and you do not need to advertise to add your products there either. However, if you do want to advertise and show shopping ads on Google, you need to first set up a Merchant Center account, and we'll talk about that more in a second. What is Merchant Center? Merchant Center is a free tool that helps you upload your store and product data to Google and make it available to Google Shopping, shopping ads, as well as other Google services. Now, you will add your products in one place, and that will be Merchant Center. Then these products will then be eligible to appear in the multiple places that I have mentioned. So let's take a few minutes to look at a few places where you might be able to see them. First, products and extra product information may appear in Google search results. Now, Google's organic results typically include basic information such as a title, a description, and a link, and some results are able to show more. This extra information is called a rich snippet, and a snippet can really help a product to stand out. This slide shows the Spice House's ground fenugreek seeds in its search results. It's jazzed up really nicely with some extra information like a star rating. And by the way, that's called a review snippet. And it also includes product details like price and availability of the seeds, which is pretty cool. So how can you help Google add that extra information to your products when they appear in Google search results? This is something that you will have to collaborate with your web developer on. And what the web developer would have to do is add what's called a structured data markup to your website. In a nutshell, without getting too technical and confusing, structured data is a labeling system added to your web pages, and these labels help Google and other web platforms to automatically understand your site and pull information like product data from the code. So in this example, one attribute from Merchant Center, the product's availability, which is very important, is displayed for free in the organic search results. So we can see when we do a search that these ground fenugreek seeds are actually in stock. A bonus of adding structured data on your website is that it can be used to automatically update products in Merchant Center. Of course, I could teach an entire workshop of that, but we'll have to stop there. However, if you want to work on improving how your products appear in Google's organic search results, you should set up Merchant Center and then let your web developer handle the technicalities of adding that structured data markup on your website. Next, products from Merchant Center can appear for free in the Shopping tab for US searches. And what you would need to do, if you're unfamiliar with the Shopping tab, is to go to google.com, do a search, and then click Shopping at the top, that little tab that says Shopping at the top, to see the results. Or if you want to skip the Google search, you can just go straight to shopping.google.com and do the same thing and see what is revealed. You can also see products in Google Images. Again, to do so, go to google.com, do a search, and then click Images at the top to see the results. What I like to recommend when business owners are doing these searches is that if you are selling a specific set of products, that you actually do the Google searches using keywords that fall into the category for your the category of products that you sell. This is a great exercise, firstly, to see if you have been doing this, if your products are showing up, but most importantly, to see if your competitors' products are showing up, right? Because if their products are showing up and your products are not showing up, then that means that you have a lot of work to do. So again, you can go to google.com, do a search, then click at Images at the top to see the results, or you can go directly to the images site at images.google.com and then see what images come up for your specific product categories. Now, you can tell that the image in the results is connected to a product for sale if it has the product label, and you see that's highlighted here. That's called a product annotation, and it usually has a product label and what looks like a tag, or sometimes to me it looks like a shopping bag. And that label indicates that you can click the product to get more information. Try it. Like I said, I highly recommend that you do these searches looking for the types of products that you yourself sell. Next, we move on to Google Lens. How many of you know what Google Lens is and how many of you have tried it? With Google Lens, you can use your phone's camera to search in a visual way. It's basically like searching with an image instead of words. So this is an example of an experimental place where products may appear on Google. So the slide that we're looking at together shows a Google Lens search using a product photo from the Spice House's website. And what do you know? Google Lens suggested similar photos from the Spice House's website, including links to the corresponding product pages. Now, Google Lens probably won't give your products the same volume of exposure as a regular Google search, but it's just an example of how Google tries its best to show relevant products in places where customers may be looking for them. Now, if you want to try Google Lens, you would download the app from Google Play for Android devices and the App Store for iPhones. And Google Lens is also available in the camera app for Android devices. And of course, it's part of the Google Photos app as well. Last but not least, Merchant Center helps retailers advertise products on Google. Now, you've probably seen shopping ads. They're more like text, and they incorporate a product photo, title, price, store name, and much more. Shopping campaigns can be used to promote online and local inventory. And local inventory ads, this is key here, help nearby shoppers know what you have in stock, potentially driving more sales to your physical store. Again, in order to run these types of ads, you need a Merchant Center account. And the screenshot again that we're looking at shows the search results for buy fenugreek the Spice House. Those were the search terms used. And of course, this reveals product photos, the store, and the price. So here's the basic process that you would have to go through in order for your products to get the visibility we have been talking about. You need to create a Merchant Center account, add your products, connect Merchant Center to Google Ads, if you're interested in advertising, then create shopping campaigns to advertise your products on Google. So next, we're going to go through a high-level overview of how Merchant Center works. As always, you'll start by creating a free account. Then you'll upload your products. Then, once you do this the correct way, those products can appear on Google. Merchant Center has an online setup guide that's available at g.co/Merchant Center setup. I'll repeat that again. It's g.co/Merchant Center setup. And I highly recommend that you go through the guide and get a clear understanding of exactly what you need to do, the information that you need to have ready before you sit down to set up the account. And again, one more time, it's g.co/Merchant Center setup. Next, we're going to go through a really basic overview of the setup process. So to start, as always, you'll need to be signed into Google, and you would go to g.co/Merchant Center and sign in with the address that's associated with your business account. If you're already using an account for your business for services such as Google Ads, make sure that you sign into that same account. Next, you'll enter information about your business, including the name, and that should be what potential customers will see with your products when they appear on Google, the country where your headquarters is located or where your business is registered, and your time zone. And entering your time zone, of course, is important for reporting purposes. Now it's time to select options that apply to your business. Merchant Center lists 3 options. If you select on your website, that means that customers can see your products on Google, but they'll go to your website to complete their purchases. If you select on Google, that means that customers can see your products on Google and buy them there. In this case, you don't need to have a website. You could use a service called Buy on Google to complete the transaction. Please be aware that the service is still in pilot at this time, but stay tuned for more information as it becomes more widely available. And finally, if you select at your store, customers can see your products on Google, but are then directed to visit your local store to buy them. You can change these checkout options in your account at any time. Next, you can link Merchant Center to third-party platforms. This can simplify the setup process for your Merchant Center account. Shopify is an option, and we'll talk about how that platform integrates with Merchant Center further down in the presentation. And you can also add more tools and integrations at any time through Merchant Center. This is the Merchant Center overview page. If you're just setting up Merchant Center, the Merchant Center prompts will be displayed at the top to help you to complete the setup. The left navigation also includes products. And of course, this links you to the area where you can add and manage your products, performance to view reports, and growth, where you can access suggestions for improving product visibility and driving more sales on Google. If you selected the options on your website or at your local store, you must verify your website before your products can appear on Google. There are 3 ways to do that. You can use Google Analytics or Tag Manager, or add an HTML file to your website, and you probably will have to ask your web developer to help you with this. But if you use Shopify for your e-commerce store, which is why we mentioned this in this presentation, the website is automatically verified when connected to Merchant Center. So using Shopify allows you to skip a lot of steps. Now that Merchant Center is set up, the next step is to add your products. You will start by clicking Products in the left navigation. And here on the screen, we can see that that section is highlighted. You can then click the button to add individual products, multiple products, or a combination of both. Now, when you add an individual product, you will enter information about it in Merchant Center. Some of the fields would be things like title, link, and price. And actually, those 3 fields are required fields. There are also lots of optional fields as well, including variants. For example, if you sell products with multiple sizes and colors, you can include the variants with the product rather than creating a separate entry for each option. This is also a huge time saver. Products that are added individually must be edited individually as well. And you can use a combination of individual product uploads and product feeds. Product feeds make it easier to add multiple products in Merchant Center. And next, we'll take a quick look at that. Now, what is a product feed? A product feed is a file that contains all the information about the products you want to show on Google. The file includes information about your products called attributes. To create a product feed in Merchant Center, you will start by entering some really basic information like language. Next, you will give the product feed a name. Now, note that this won't appear on Google, but it gives you a way of finding that specific feed in your account going forward. Then you will choose how you want to add products to your feed. If you're just getting started, one of the easiest ways or the most recommended ways for you to do this is to use Google Sheets with the template provided. If you select Google Sheets, Merchant Center displays 2 options: use a template or select another spreadsheet. You would choose the second option if you had an existing product feed that is already set up to work in Merchant Center. For the sake of this presentation, I'm going to assume that you're starting from scratch. And so in this case, you would choose the template. Now, there will be linked to instructions for creating your feed as well as product specifications. And again, this is when you're using the template, it definitely makes sense to just make sure that you review all of the instructions and specifications so that you're not frustrated as you go through this process, and you make sure that you have all of the information needed for this to be a successful undertaking. So here we will see that the detail on this slide highlights the columns in the spreadsheet, and each column would correspond to a product attribute. And if you've been doing e-commerce for a while, then these attributes should not be new to you. It's basic product description labels. So we see here there's title, description, price, availability. If there's an image link, you can also have in stock, out of stock, and pre-order. Anything that makes sense and will make it easier for you going forward to manage your inventory. Now, this may sound a bit technical, but at the end of the day, you're simply creating a spreadsheet with the product information that you want to be able to easily display across Google. Now, once the Merchant Center is complete, your products can appear in Google in many places, including quick review, Google search, images, shopping, shopping ads, and of course, experimental places like Google Lens, which we discussed earlier. So there's still an important topic we haven't addressed, and that is how to actually sell products on your own website. Many businesses use third-party e-commerce tools to power their online stores, and there are lots of great options available. Today, we're going to speak a little bit more about one option, and that would be Shopify. Now, you may remember that during the Merchant Center setup, there was an option to connect to Shopify, and I said that if you're using Shopify, it actually simplifies the setup process. That connection means that you can skip the website verification step, and that is why Shopify is included in this presentation, because it seamlessly integrates with Google's Merchant Center. However, before we move on to take a look at Shopify, are there any questions that anybody has as it relates to the first section of the presentation, which dealt with Merchant Center, adding your products, and how you can be found, and how adding your products helps your products to be found and seen on various places on Google? So let me take a quick look in the Q&A box. And one of the questions is, what if you set up a Google profile and forgot the ID? You usually can ask for a reset, but if you don't know what it is, then there's actually a customer support that you can reach out to help you with this, Ms. Bolt. If you would like me to direct you to how to do that, then feel free to email me after the presentation and I can direct you exactly on how you can do that if you forgot the ID. Forgetting the password is easier because you already have the email address or the login, and you just do a password or set. If you've totally forgotten what email address that you use, that can be a little bit more complicated, but it can be solved. Okay, and that's because your computer, you lost the old computer. That's fine. Reach out to me after the presentation and I can see how I can better assist you with that. Okay, so let's see what other questions that we have in the actual chat. John, you're having problems with Google with verifying a physical location of the business. That usually occurs when there's an issue with that verification postcard that they send to the physical location to prove that you have a physical, actually in fact have a physical location, because some people like to trick the system and their e-commerce, and they don't have a physical location. If you're not receiving that postcard for whatever reason, there is another option where you are actually contacted and you have to do a live call with a Google representative. That can get a little complicated. So if this is your situation, again, I'm going to share my email address with everyone and you will have it on the handout. And that is definitely something that you can email me about, and I can help to steer you in the correct direction in terms of alternate verification methods that can be used. Usually though, if you're using a mailing address where you receive mail regularly, you should not be having that problem. Can you please give the URL to upload the products? Uday, you're going to get a copy of the presentation with very detailed instructions. So I would just, and I have to say, the copy of the presentation will be emailed to you by tomorrow. My co-host organizations do a really good job of following up. So don't worry too much about taking copious notes and worrying about having to remember everything. All right. Somebody's asking if the webinar is being recorded. Yes, it is. Everybody that attended today will get a copy of the presentation. Shopify is a bit expensive. Can Google be linked to, it can be linked to other websites, but like I explained, it's not as easy as having Shopify. You would have to go through the website verification process. So absolutely, you don't have to use Shopify, but we just recommend it because it's just very easy. So Yolanda is asking, do you offer assistance with this? The best people to ask for assistance with this one-on-one assistance would be our organization hosts. So whether it be the Queen's Chamber or the Tech Incubator, I know the Tech Incubator at Queen's College does assist with websites. So you may want to reach out to Ying after the presentation. She shared her information in the chat, and you can get one-on-one assistance that way. Okay, thank you guys for speaking up and asking questions. And again, anything that isn't covered today, once you get the copy of the presentation, you'll have my my email address. Just shoot me a quick email and I'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction. Alrighty, you guys, so let's move on to the second half of the presentation, which is taking a closer look at Shopify. So small businesses leverage the Shopify platform to grow their customer base, develop better customer relationships, grow their sales, and of course, grow their small businesses. Let's take a step back for those of you who may not be familiar and go over exactly what Shopify is and why it exists. Then we'll talk about how you can easily and quickly start selling your products through Shopify, regardless of your knowledge base. And in the last piece of this segment, we'll touch on how to connect Shopify and Google to make sure that your products are being found. Understanding Shopify starts with understanding its mission, which is to make commerce better for everyone. Every business owner should have the best tools to compete and thrive against much bigger businesses. So this is definitely a platform that's intended to support the small business owner. Shopify was founded in Canada 15 years ago and is now being used in 175 countries. The platform is used by 1 million merchants who collectively have generated over 155 billion in sales using the platform. That's amazing. During the COVID-19 pandemic last year, many business owners found themselves needing to pivot to stay afloat, and everybody on this webinar bridge today can relate to that, right? Me included. Many offline-only retailers turned to online sales, and some have actually come out on the other side of this even stronger, thanks to being able to diversify their businesses. Shopify allows you to sell your physical products in your own personalized e-commerce website. So here's an example of what a Shopify site can look like from a real business, and this is the business we've been using throughout the presentation, called the Spice House. Now you may notice that the site looks super professional and easy to navigate, and the pages are loading quickly. Also important to note, the site is going to show up on Google. Why? Because Shopify sites are designed to convert at the highest possible rate, meaning that it generates the most sales per visitor to your site. Here's how you can get started with Shopify. You would go to shopify.com and create an account. And you do this by entering your email address and clicking the button that says Start Free Trial. Once you have an account, you'll be able to log into Shopify from any device, which is key, as long as you have an internet connection. Why? Because it's a cloud-based service. Once you set up an account, you'll be asked a few questions to help Shopify get to learn more about you and your business. Once you've filled in these questions, click Next. You will have the option to skip this step if you like. However, if this is the first time that you're doing this, I recommend that you skip nothing, right? Just go through everything, answer all of the questions, because in this learning phase, the platform is actually going to be doing its best to help you to get the best possible results. Once you create your account, you'll be logged into the admin section. Think of your admin section like the cockpit or control for your website. From here, you can modify themes, add products, view and fulfill orders, create email marketing campaigns, view reports, and much more. You will also need to fill in payment information, delivery information, things like pickup options, tax settings, terms of service, and return policy. So what I would recommend is that you make sure that you have all of these things available before you sit down to do these things. But first things first, let's talk about how you actually get to your products online. When we talk about products on Shopify, we don't only mean physical products. You may be a service provider like me, and you may also be selling digital goods or digital offerings, such as an online course or consultations or buckets of hours, right? So don't only think of this in terms of people who have actual products. This is actually a question that I often get. I'm surprised that nobody, unless I missed it, nobody asked that. Is this only for people who sell actual products? Absolutely not. If you have service offerings that you have come up with a way to sell digitally, this applies to you as well. When you add products to Shopify, they'll automatically be ready to sell across all of your channels. If you're an established business and you have a spreadsheet of your inventory, you have the option to simply upload that as well. But let's say you're starting by just adding brand new products. So this is in your cockpit, right? Your dashboard. Here is how you would go about adding your products to Shopify. You would click the Add Product button, which will bring up a form with lots of fields. Now, you don't need to include every detail, but you'll want to consider a few things. Make sure to give your product a name, description, and add relevant details. For example, the Spice House might have a product called Ground Jamaican Allspice Berries. In the description, you'd want to add relevant details about the product. And in this example, we see a short description of how allspice is harvested and what actually gave it its name. You'll also want to make sure you add your product images. Visuals are a key factor in whether a customer decides to make a purchase or not. Finally, you'll want to add a price for your product, right? You have to do this. Of course, don't want to forget this part, right? And in this example, the Spice House sells their ground Jamaican allspice berries for $6.99. Once you've submitted these details, your product will be ready to sell across all channels, including Google, of course. Moving on to how you make the connection between Shopify and Google. Now, Shopify allows you to connect to your customers wherever they happen to be. And of course, depending on the kind of business you have, this would be on your website, in a store, third-party platform, even your social media channels. And most importantly, it helps you to manage your activities across all of these channels. You want to connect Shopify to Google because that's where people go looking for things and because it is free. To add Google to Shopify, you would click on the sales channel in the sidebar, then click on the plus sign next to Google. And this is what's being highlighted here on the slide. When you add Google as a sales channel, it will sync in real time with your Shopify account. Now you can make changes in products in either Google or Shopify, and it will sync across all of your channels. So talk about a time saver. You will click Add Sales Channel to proceed. To set up the Google channel, you'll need to be signed into your Google account. You always need to be signed into your Google account to access all of Google's digital tools, right? And again, this will require your Google account, email address, and of course, just to make sure that I'm covering all bases, this would be your Google email address that you use strictly for managing your business, not your personal address. And again, if you don't have such an address, it's really easy to create one at no additional charge. To use Shopify Google's channel, your Shopify store needs to meet a few minimum requirements so that it can seamlessly sync with Google Merchant Center. And this is what they are. The Shopify store has to be set up online and published, so you have to be live. Relevant payment and contact information has to be completed. You have to complete your refund policy in terms of service, and you also need to indicate the countries and currencies that you will be selling in. So again, to review, in order for you to connect the channel and for things to work seamlessly, your Shopify store has to be set up online and published. Your relevant payment and contact information has to be completed. Your refund policy in terms of service have to be published, and you need to indicate the countries and currencies that you will be selling in. Once the store requirements are met, it's time to sync your product feed. Now, of course, you'll need a Merchant Center account to do this, which is why we go through Merchant Center at the beginning of this presentation. Because if you don't have a Merchant Center account, even if your Shopify store is complete, you will not be able to connect to Google unless you have completed the Merchant Center process. So I would recommend that you get the Merchant Center completed first, and then you sync, or you can do it simultaneously. The point here is that they will not sync properly unless your Merchant Center aspect is complete. So again, if you have not gone through the Merchant Center process, you would have to then create a Merchant Center account. If you have, you would click that Get Started button. And at that point, all you will be doing is linking your Merchant Center account. If you haven't done so yet, you would have to take a few steps back and actually create it. Okay. So this will take you to a page to connect your Google Merchant Center account directly with the Google channel in Shopify. This step is important to make sure that the shop information and the product information, right, that is being shared is up to date, and it will surface correctly to shoppers across Google. The Google channel imports your existing product data from Shopify to Google's Merchant Center. Now, remember that ground Jamaican allspice berries product that we added to the store earlier? The Google channel will automatically fetch that data, so you don't have to worry about entering it twice or making mistakes. Again, it's free to show and add your products in Google Merchant Center, but if you wish, once you do so, you also have the option to advertise those products with Google Shopping ads, but of course, this is not a requirement. Now you've linked your Merchant Center account to Shopify at this point. At this stage, however, the products are not syncing automatically yet. To do that, you need to select the market or country that you will sell in and your shipping settings. Finally, you have the option to connect your Google Ads account to get started with smart shopping campaigns. Again, this is not a requirement. Now, in case you're interested, these are paid ads that help your products appear in front of shoppers on YouTube, Gmail, Google Search, and across Google. To set up a smart shopping campaign, all you need to do is sync your products and set a daily budget. Google will optimize your campaign and choose the best time and place to show your products to shoppers. Now, I know that we've covered a lot of ground today, but remember that both Google and Shopify are designed to make it as easy as possible to get started. So remember, some words of encouragement: you don't have to be good to start, you just have to start to be good. And with everything else, practice makes perfect, you guys. So once you do, you go through these motions first 3 to 5 times, you will get it. All right, so we're almost at the end of our time today. So let's wrap up today's session with a few more resources. First, I'd like to share Grow My Store with you. Now, Grow My Store is a free Google tool designed for retailers who sell online, in store, or both. It's accessed by going to g.co/growmystore. As long as you have a website, it can analyze and assess the customer experience. The reports that you have access to evaluate a range of factors such as product information, store details, personalization, and website performance. The tool also measures how fast your site loads, its mobile friendliness, and how secure it is. You can then receive personalized reports plus tips for making site improvements. If you'd like to watch a 3-minute video tutorial, we encourage you to visit the Grow with Google Quick Help playlist at g.co/grow/quick-help. Again, the playlist, g.co/grow/quick-help. And when you get there, you would look for the video entitled, How Can I Improve My Website? Again, the name of the video is How Can I Improve My Website? Next is a free tool called Local Opportunity Finder. And you can access the tool by visiting g.co/local opportunity finder. This tool helps small business owners improve their presence on Google Search and Maps by analyzing their business profile on Google. If you want to watch a video tutorial, again, visit the Grow with Google Quick Help playlist and watch the video titled, How Can I Get the Most of My Business Profile on Google? Again, the name of the video for Local Opportunity Finder is How Can I Get the Most of My Business Profile on Google? You can also continue learning about ways to grow your business by checking in with the Grow with Google On Air team and schedule. This free resource can help you to grow your digital skills and help you stay connected and productive while working or managing your business remotely. And to get access to these resources, you would visit g.co/growonair to learn more. And that's g.co/growonair. And usually just about every month or every other month, you need to check the schedule for 2022. There are workshops. Sometimes they present the same topics that my team presents, but most times they have additional topics. So it's a good way to balance your learning or expand your learning by checking out what's going on their schedule as well. Okay, so that is all in terms of the official presentation today. You guys have been an amazing audience. We have a couple minutes left, and I will take another quick look in the Q&A box to see if there are any questions, Q&A and chat. And if there aren't any questions, I will turn the floor back over to Jacqueline. So one of the questions is, can you sync other stores? Yes, you can sync other stores like WooCommerce and BigCommerce as well. Absolutely. Just not as easy as Shopify. Okay, Alexandra is asking. Oh, she's saying she will email me. Great. I will look out for your email address. And I think that those are all the questions. So Jacqueline, floor back over to you. I'll stop sharing.
Thank you, Patia, and has been a great presentation as always. And we are looking forward for your next presentation at the Queen's Chamber of Commerce with our community partners. It's coming up. I'm going to share also the presentation on the link.
Right.
Yes, thank you so much for being here today.
You are very welcome. Everyone, enjoy the rest of the afternoon and the rest of the week. Jacqueline will be in touch. Goodbye.
Goodbye.